Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity, and Love. Every week, amazing guests, healers, authors, show hosts, experts, you name it. And this week, again, is no exception. We've got a returning guest, Tracy L. Clark out of Ontario. She was episode, I believe, 17. I am excited to have her back. She's already been on one panel. She'll have been on a second panel by the time you see this show. So she's now one of our veterans. She's super talented. She was the first businesswoman in Canada to sell a public company. She had a childhood that we've described back in the original show. We're going to probably talk more about holistic health, life choices, things like that, all the stuff that we talk about on this show. But I wanted to mention her background. It gave her an incredible foundation later in life to help others discover their authentic power, get living, get loving, and to allow more. Tracy, welcome back to the show. It is always fantastic to see you. I'm just honored to have you here.
It's always so fun to be here. We always have such a great time. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Spirit has to unfold with us today.
Yes. And instead of waiting, we talked about this ahead of time, and I've already done this. And if anyone hasn't seen the show, you're going to get the chance to catch sage smoke wherever you are in the world. And even if you're watching in 2025 or 2035, I light a little bit of sage in San Antonio, and I just did this for Lorna Byrne. You can check out her episode that came out, the Irish angel mystic, Lorna Byrne. She caught flowers. I think it was daisies and roses. So don't limit yourself. This is the message in all of life. We know the linear way, 1 + 1 has to equal 2, right? Nah, not at all. 1 + 1 can be 11, 111, or you tell us the answer. It's your life. So sage smoke to Tracy L. Clark, TLC, if you want to remember that. And that's tracylclark.com. What a website, what offerings, books, everything else. And Tracy, what are you getting and what are you asking for more of? Is it the ocean, flowers?
I am always the ocean girl.
Which
I
ocean are you
never get
getting?
enough of it.
Spain,
Yeah.
California?
You know what? I don't actually, it has to be warm. So we're going to stay out of California.
Okay. All right, I'm going to
I
snub
love
this
to
out.
bathe in the ocean because it's so cleansing for me, right? I'm one with the ocean. So it has to be warm.
Ocean is good. I'm a water person all the way.
Yeah.
I'll bring up 3 angel photos. One of them will be light waves of energy in water, my guardian angel, the silhouette one, Min. And so again, this format of this show is a little different because she's already been on. You can check out a more formal interview. We're going to have some fun today, and Tracy's going to be talking to us a lot about life, living our lives, learning about our unique life path, how to get out of our own way. She's got lots of advice. Please check her out on TikTok. Instagram, she's been rocking it out there. She just had a post, I believe, on TikTok that broke 100,000 views. So bravo to her. And by the time this comes out, you will have already seen her on another panel, a mind, body, spirit panel, panel number 4, with Lizelle Elliott in France, who's got 1 million followers on TikTok, and another guest. Here's Joy. The angel Joy is the emotion Joy. Can you put your palm out, ask her a question, get a hug as well down the back? Let's juggle a lot of balls here. And maybe get a topic to talk about.
You know what? Right away, she said it's time for everyone to be expansive and elevate. It's time.
So how do we go about, we know our routine in life, we know our job, we know our relationships, we're judging ourselves and every one of those data points. And that's almost where the crux or the rub or the opportunity is at. Take it from there.
Yeah. You know what? One thing I learned on my journey is, and it's, people are going to say, I've heard it, but have you integrated it? You got to get uncomfortable with your life. And you need to be uncomfortable because we get so comfortable. Like you and I were talking about this earlier. There's changes in your business, changes in my business. We're constantly changing. And it's easy to get stagnant. It's easy to say, like, I remember a time when I just would see 30 people a week. I booked 10, 12 months out. And that was my routine. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm comfortable. It's steady, but it wasn't serving me anymore. And we're in a place now where the world is changing so much that we need to look inside and say, what quadrant of our life are we prepared to get uncomfortable in? And pick one quadrant. Don't pick them all. You'll be overwhelmed. You're going to give up. You're going to stop. It might be your relationship camp. It might be your connection with yourself. It might be, and see, a lot of times, even when we get into our own growth and evolution of who we are, we will get used to certain ways of being versus looking at expansive and different ways and pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone. And I want to give you an example. This is I see this a lot, and I get this a lot from people, and it upsets them when I say this. A lot of people who are in the growth realm where we are, they will develop routines. So it's like, say they need a fire every night, or they need a salt bath every night, or they need it, is what they say. So they'll go out and they're like, well, I can't go in the world because I get triggered because I'm an empath and I pick up everybody's stuff. Okay. And the only way I can clean it is if I go have a fire, I jump in the salt bath. And I'm like, oh, and they want to be some great master that maybe they've studied. And I said, but okay, I get that. And I get that's been your practice for so long. But here's the flip side. If we are light and we are to spread our light in the world, no matter who you follow, whether it's, it might be Buddha, or it might be some of, maybe some of the people of India, maybe it's Jesus, whoever you guys love. They weren't hiding in the cave saying that I'm so empathic, I can't go out there. They were walking the world with their light because they learned to just keep transmuting it and transmuting it. So they got different. So they had to get out in these public places, right, with people to share their light, to spread their light. So it's time to look at what you're doing that's actually holding you back in all areas of life, so you can enjoy life, because life is meant to be, just like Joy says, and she just is in my ear here. We're meant to be joyous. We're meant to be fun, but we need to be able to be prepared to get uncomfortable and do something different so we can get the joy in our life that we're looking for.
Nice. Very nice. Okay. So if a person grabbed a legal pad, pen and paper, if we're making up an exercise or this is part of the routine that you do, how do we quadrant out, our tough stuff, our easy stuff, the stuff that we're taking for granted? How do we start building our appreciation, our gratitude, our allowing for more, changing our flows, appreciating our flows? I mean, we've got it all here. We can understand that vaguely, but we got a lot of thinking going on. So what would you tell us to do to maybe go full stop, do evaluation? Is it grab a shot glass? Is it walk?
Yeah. I'm out of here. No, I'm just kidding. Just walk out of your life and say, just go to Tuscany or somewhere and start over again. No, I'm not saying
Not bad.
But yeah, right. I'm just out of here. I'm just going to do something different. One of the things you want to do, and I would say you got to pick the sort of low hanging fruit first, right? Don't go after the big one. Go after, so quadrant your life out. Start with the main quadrant. So maybe it's your connection to self and spirit. That'd be one, your work, right? Maybe the next quadrant's your home, your relationship camp. Maybe the next quadrant's your career. Maybe the next quadrant's your money. So quadrant out your areas, and then you can maybe have your family, extended family, if you want that. But you got to see what's important to you, and those will become your quadrants first. Then look at the one and say, okay, I would write them down and say, which one scares the crap out of you the most to tackle? And a lot of people will say it's their money because they can get overwhelmed. And I've seen this with my clients. They get very overwhelmed because it's a new learning, it's outside the box. Don't tackle that one right away, because that's just going to flow anyways the more you get here. So you might go back and say, okay, I realize that when I look at myself, do I love myself? Do I get up in the morning? Am I joyous with myself? Am I respecting myself? Am I honoring myself? Am I able to walk away from stuff that I think I want that I know I shouldn't have in my life? And start asking yourself those questions. And then if you're saying, no, I don't really, no, I don't want, pick one. So if you're like, I don't respect myself, or maybe you don't respect yourself in relationships. Maybe you don't respect yourself when you're at the job, you let other people go forward. And if it's respect, tackle that one, just that one, and say, truthfully, I always say, ask yourself this word, truthfully, because truthfully is going to bring in a new energy. People don't talk this way. Truthfully, how can I respect myself more? Truthfully, why am I afraid to speak up and have my voice? Truthfully, what can I do in my day to day to honor who I am? And truthfully, where can I say no more? in my life. And just by doing that, you're going to make a profound shift in your own awareness that when you go out and somebody says something to you, you might say, you know what? I appreciate that, but I'm not going to receive that. And so off you go. You know, and you may not say it directly to their face, but you'll start to realize that how people are treating you when you start to do that, you'll go, I don't think I want them in my world anymore. I think I need to distance. And there's a way you can do it in kindness, but you got to start in one place. Other than that, what's going to happen, and nobody wants to be here anymore, is you're going to get the same old, same old, same old, same old. And then you just die and come back at the same old place you were when you left. So why not do it now and start, right? So
Good insights for taking stock. And the vision or the view or the whatever, the image that I got was a bubbling spring. That would be everyone's internal energy. It's love. It's your creative enthusiasm. Now, you had it when you were 5, hopefully when you were 12. Good luck at 25. And if you're older, you've been hit hard by life and you're a minuscule of what you used to be, but you never lost it. It's right here. If you would just give yourself a chance. Tracy's good at this for helping you let go. But so think of it this way. The bubbling spring comes up and it's like a pond, but parts of the embankment or the barrier or the boundary are eroded by people, situations, yourself. It's really yourself, not the externals. You're responsible for how you flow and maintain your bubbling spring and the boundaries. So can we talk about how do we repair the edges so we allow ourselves to flow more, to come out? How do we get comfortable with ourselves unlocking, unleashing, letting go? That's spiritual awakening. You talked about that from your, not windsurfer, but your stand-up paddleboard, didn't you?
yeah, I believe I did because I paddle as much as I can. It's coming to an end soon.
Oh,
Fall is coming too quickly. Yeah, you know what? It's if you're ready, I always say again, back to taking stock of who you are and why you're doing something, and ask yourself, why am I doing this? And people might say, well, I have awareness. It's autopilot. Okay, take a day, take one day. I challenge anyone listening to this because I've done this with my mastermind group and they say it's so hard, and you will see the breakthroughs. But all of them come back to me and say, oh my God, I got the breakthroughs. Take 24 hours and in everything you do, say, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? You're making choices all day long. So why am I choosing to go get that coffee at that shop this morning? Is it because I go there all the time? Is it because I'm comfortable with it? Maybe I need to go to a different one. It sounds simple, but if you can be present and ask yourself why you're doing that. So if somebody calls you and you agree to do something and you go, I don't want to do that. Okay, why did I do that? Why was I choosing that? Because everything is a choice. And when you bring the awareness back to it for 24 hours, you will start to shake your paradigm, which will then make you look at making a different choice. And then spirit's going to nudge you in a different way. And then what happens is your boundaries are going to get stronger. That bank you're talking about is going to get stronger. And then you're going to have a foundation that's going to be stronger. Because what's happening a lot when we're making choices that go against who we truly are, it's like a house. The foundation crumbles and we need to take down our house. This is our old self so we can rebuild the foundation. So when you're asking yourself these questions, why am I choosing this? You're rebuilding your foundation and not just puttying it up with cracks and they're coming again. I mean, a solid foundation that you can build a 300-story high building and it's still going to go. If the tornado comes by, it will not move.
I'm going to repeat what you're saying with a little twist. So everyone's a Sherlock Holmes out there, and I mean intellectual, everything, but we're talking classic Sherlock Holmes from the 1800s with those magnifying glasses. And that's what we use to approach everything. And by reevaluating why you're making your decision making, you realize it's about this, the device, or how you just approach anything, how you're deciding to flow your energy. You become more aware of, am I doing this out of my heart? Am I doing this out of my brain? Am I resisting, judging, reacting, fear, stress, worry, and 1,000 other little, not negative to neutral to 1% negative vibrations that are totally a waste of energy? And the second you clean it up, you're not going to clean it up overnight, but just think of it this way: 7% less negativity, less thinking a week, a day, better choices, as you were saying, just by a little baby step, is like incrementally or exponentially impacting your life. You'll be shocked at what happens after that. It's like having seaweed on the keel of a sailboat or your dagger board, if you know sailing, so that it's slowing your speed down and you're side slipping more in the currents of life.
Yeah, exactly. And when people do this, even if you take like 3 hours, start with 3 hours and do it, wow, like game changer. It will be a game changer,
Ooh.
especially for as we go into this whole next year to the end of 2024 into 2025. We're ascending and ascending and ascending. And so there's going to be so many shifts that we don't want to get stuck. And one of the things I showed with that analogy you just did is think of it too, that if you want, it's going to be like they show like an anchor of a boat being thrown in, you know, an anchor's in. We got to keep lifting the anchor up and move our boat.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's easy to get stuck. It's easy to settle on our accomplishments or failures or on
Yes.
status or jobs, roles, perceived expectations, and so on. And it's
Yes.
releasing the details. Doesn't matter what the details are. Just keep, if you can practice releasing, practice your awareness, your focus, and understanding of your choices. Bravo. What does Charlotte say about all of this? And if you could get sort of the next chapter, Charlotte's an angel, and you just met Joy the angel previously.
It's very interesting because her wisdom is if you embrace this concept, she said, things will change. They will change. The key is, and I keep hearing emphasis on will, not might, will change. So that means already has been changed in the ethers. It's just going to show up.
Mm. So everything's consciousness. Everything has a presence to it. How about that? People in India have a big portion of India has no problem with that concept. And the way I'll say it is just allowing more, connecting more. You don't have to understand it or say it to know it. And I'm borrowing from someone's famous quote, but you've already got it all. You know this from like little dips into the pool of life. You're great at yoga. You know how to read a detective series, books. You cuddle up. You always have your chair, sunlight, your cat. You just love life in that moment. Gardening, million activities, but you don't take that same ability to let go and perform in all the other areas. And I think that's what Tracy was talking about on slowing way down and figuring out how to apply yourself to each present moment, because that's that Sherlock Holmes glass. I'm mixing all my metaphors now so you can have smooth sailing.
Yeah.
I did
And
it.
it has to be, right? Because it is smooth sailing. And I love that you put it that way because it's so true. And we are uncoupling from a world that keeps us very busy and distracted right now. And so the world is trying to distract people from being calm because when we're calm and centered, we create. So if they can remember
Mankind is distracting us.
mankind, yeah,
Yeah.
mankind. So this is where when we can pull back from that and be in the energy and be in ourself and be in with your angels and your guides and in that flow, the flow, it's always flowing over there. Like it's always flowing. Then we don't want to be stuck in the busy of the illusion that I'm very stuck, like you said, with that anchor. We don't, that's that illusion. As soon as we shift out, and you can just look at it, they show it like a wiper, like a windshield wiper. You know, if you come here and you just wipe it all off, now you're over here. You can choose to bring it back here, but if you just bring it here, then you're going to go into that flow very differently.
And in Buddhist circles, they talk about dust. So with your thinking, more and more thinking, guess what? It accumulates dust just like in your home. You got to dust once in a while. Maybe it's taking stock, maybe it's looking at your decisions. But I love that metaphor. We all do a ton of thinking, and this goes back thousands of years. Buddhist tradition, Zen tradition, they always have this student rushing up to the master to show that they've finally graduated. They've gotten to their heart. They're not dependent on thinking anymore. So they ask a question to the master, trying to nail the master, to one up the master. And the master comes back with even a more spontaneous response that puts the student back in the class. They got to go study for another 2 years to have their enlightenment. So I'll give you one of the ones I remember from Joe Shu. It's a book up here. It's the student comes running up to the master. Master, what is the white ox standing in the field? Figures he's got to stump him, and he's just done such a thing. The master smacks him on the head with the cane and says, "You dumb ox." So this isn't about words. It isn't about structure. It isn't about knowing something to the preclusion of possibility. It's about operating out of here. And that is the scariest place for all of us to go, We're there more than we know, but we do it in an unconscious way. So if you can be more conscious about the unconscious parts of your day, you're going to be a rock star at anything you put your focus on or want to go in direction wise. You're unlimited. Good luck with that. And so Tracy, talk to us about, we have no limits. We have all the potential. We've got flows. We're Jedi. What do we do with it?
Yeah. What do we do with it? Yeah. Well, do whatever you want with it. No. Jedis. I always say that we're superhuman. We have these superpowers within us, and we do. They've been suppressed throughout years. And one thing you said that I want to broach that was very important for people to understand. We all have these within us, and our heart is one of the scariest things to open. And it's a scary process for people because you feel and you become vulnerable and you become available to the world. And this is something I want to share that I would realize with the universe that works very well. We need to open our heart to activate these superpowers within. So we're available for the universe to come and work with us, right? We have to be available. And it's no different than if you've been in relationships where people are emotionally unavailable. What happens when you're in a relationship with somebody that's emotionally unavailable? They keep you out here, right? You're out here. So you can't get in. They don't let you in. Doesn't feel very good. And you're always on the peripheral. Okay. And I'm sure many people can relate to this. Or somebody listening's been in that position. So they're all emotionally, so someone emotionally, it's here. Well, if they're there and they can't let that heart open and love, they don't get anything, right? It's just nothing. It's empty. And the reason I use that example is because so many people can relate to it. And if we're able to open our heart, and the reason they stay here is they're afraid to open their heart. They're afraid to know, what is it like to really be loved? What is it like to be vulnerable? What is it like to be consistent and show up in my world? That's so people can understand, because everybody has been in relationships, you know this. Take the same premise now to yourself, to the universe. If you keep the universe out here, and if you say, I'm not available, and I'm afraid to open my heart because I don't know if I'm vulnerable. I don't know how I do if that money shows up or that perfect person shows up, or I don't have the skills. I'm not ready. So I'm going to be unavailable to you, universe, and put my walls up. Then you're never going to experience the flow and the gifts from the universe. But if you can open the heart and say, I'm scared as F, like I'm so scared. I want to open my heart and I know I'm going to feel, but I'm going to do it anyways. And I'm going to feel it. And I'm going to fall down my butt and I'm going to get back up again. Now you're available for spirit to come in and help you make changes in your life and help uplift you. But if you're not available, you're not going to have your dreams and visions. So spirit's saying, get available. Become available and open your heart. And that will unlock more and more and more superpowers within you. And you and I both know, Michael, that when we started on our journey, our skills to where we are today, they grew over time. We always had them, but like a muscle working out, they grew over time for us. Why? Because we kept saying, we're available, bring us more. We're available, we'll feel more. We're available. So if we apply this in every area of our life, your powers unlock, life becomes easier, but you must choose it.
Make yourself available to the universe. Beautifully said. Wow. I will see if I can clip that into a little 1-minute video clip or less. So you reminded me of the movie Peaceful Warrior with Nick Nolte, Amy Smart, Scott Meklowitz. It's almost like a Disney production. It's definitely,
I know it well.
yeah, it's like an adult
Yeah.
Karate Kid film, and the some of the deleted scenes are absolutely amazing, especially the bus stop one where they're chatting. They've just been robbed. They're in their underwear, but it's the scene under the tree out at Berkeley's campus, even though it was a different
Yes.
university.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember.
and she puts her hand out to his heart, Amy Smart, and he's already been in the motorcycle wreck, I think, and he's recovering. He's told he's never going to walk again. He's got a cane.
Yep.
He's a world-class gymnast. He set the record for whatever number of twirls on the rings you can do. Later, he goes to the NCAAs, wins that, goes on to the Olympics, doesn't win a gold. The book won't ruin the movie won't ruin the book. And it's literally a Mr. Miyagi figure at the gas station with Nick Nolte. So I got to mention this because it's not a waste of time. The movie,
It's a beautiful movie and book. I would
yeah.
highly recommend everybody watch it.
And maybe later in the show, if I can remember, Socrates, we never find out the gas station attendant's name, is an angel that I help people meet. So we'll do that later. But what I wanted to mention is Amy Smart has got it a little more together. Now, it's going to seem like she's got it all, but none of us, growth and expansion never stops. So no matter how put together another human being seems to you, they still got to pay the bills. They got relationships, they got all sorts of issues. It's called being human. So what I'm getting to is Dan's just figuring out which way is up, which way is down, that he's even got a heart. He's been living a certain way through his brain for a long time. And she says to him under the tree, Dan, are you paying attention? Or Dan, are you paying attention to life right now and what life is trying to tell you? So something to add to what Tracy said about life's, you can put all your boundaries up. You can say, hey, stay away, whether it's people, the universe, I'm not going here, I'm not listening. But that's when the accidents happen. That's when the other stuff happens. You get job loss, sudden twists. It's to shake you out of your rigidity, your version of reality, because it's always going to be bigger. And you've signed up for a much more adventurous path than what most of us are probably living right now.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And that is why it's so important that at all costs, this is an all cost time. This isn't, oh, maybe I'll do a little bit. It's at all cost. I'm going to be available. And remember that just because something may not work out in the way, and people listening, it may not work out in the way that you thought, but you got something beautiful out of it. And it'll take you to the next step in your life if you're available.
How can we take the tiniest baby step and say to the universe, prove it? Show me you're there, and then I should let my guard down. Is it signs, feathers? Just start slowing down to pay attention more. Ask. Hey, get in my radar screen somehow so I get something from the universe that makes me stop cold and say, whoa, what just happened here? How do I get going with the universe?
What I would say, if you'd like a gentler approach before you go to bed, ask your subconscious. Now bring in your guides, your angels, whoever you like to connect with. I always say put your hand on your heart too, so you're opening it. But have a conversation with your guides, the universe, your subconscious to say, look, I'm available in whatever. Be specific in what it is. I'm available in unlocking this, and I want to open that, and I want you while I sleep. Now maybe they're going to give you a message. Maybe you won't get it. Maybe they'll just do it anyways. In my sleep, I'd like you to unravel whatever that block or resistance is, so that when I wake up, I start to see or feel what I need to know that this is en route to me now and it's here. And what can happen with that is you can also unlock where you're seeing the signs. All of a sudden you may bump into someone who says one thing, or before the show, Michael said, you said something to me that somebody else had said that we didn't even talk about. I was like, oh my God, somebody else said that. So it's the signs, right? Watch for them. So if you're not sure, if you want to have a conversation with the universe, you can. If you're waking and you're like, I'm good at this, I can do this. But it's like, I'm ready, I'm available. So now I'm asking you to show me, asking you to be present. I'm available. And the universe is always available, always. But back to my always the same point, do not get locked up on how it has to be. So say, I am open to all possibilities, every possibility, because you don't even know, like you might have to, sometimes I see this with people with relationships. I said, you might have to go through one person to learn something to get to that person that you really want to be with. So you might look at that person. Why did you get me that person? Well, because maybe you had to clear that thing with that person. The universe said, get rid of that. So you're ready for that. And this can apply to relationships. It can apply to your money. It can apply to your personal growth, your manifesting, your family. It can apply to everything across the board. So when you look, say, wait a minute. I needed you to do this in my world so I could go here. thank the universe for that. And that's where you thank the universe. Don't sit there and go, why did you send me that? Blah, 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 blah. The universe is like, excuse me, I'm helping you uncouple things from yourself so you can have what you want. Say, thank you for bringing me that person, place, or thing. I now see why I required it. And now I'm ready and grateful for the next step. Say that and watch what happens.
Okay, so let's go the biggest, highest vibe, biggest picture ever. I'll try to remember this. Mother Teresa said, if you judge people, you have no time to love them. That's hard. That's easy. It's whatever you want to make it. But also, this is Angel saying the next quote, you can be happy now in this very moment for no reason whatsoever, which defies all logic, all reason. I got a million reasons I can't be here. I can't be happy. I can't smile right now. I'm locked up tight like my brake system, and I left a 40-foot skid mark on the highway behind me. No deer in front of me. I just decided to hit the brakes because life is hard and I need to make it hard. So life's whatever you want to make it. How do we appreciate all this? How do we allow for more? How do we take the universe on in this beautiful waltz, tango, you name the dance?
Yeah. Well, I always say it's like swimming in the water, right? It's this nice flow where you're like, here we go. And you can look at the universe as, so there's an interesting concept, and you've probably heard it too, and I teach it a lot, is, and I'll do the male-female relationship so you can get it with the universe. So when the man is in his power and is masculine and he's giving, right? And then the lady receives, and if it's in the right balance, the male energy goes over the female, my mic here, over the female energy like this, and it becomes a dance, right? It's a dance. They know where their place is and it dances. So what I say is look at, so that same concept can apply to the universe. So look at the universe as that beautiful, strong energy that's always holding you up, that's always safe space. There's nothing not safe in it whatsoever. And that energy you can come under. So it's like cradles you. So you're always safe. You're always flowing. And so when something is feeling challenging, or you don't feel you can be in that gratitude or that flow, pull yourself back for a minute and go, remember, wait a minute, this is my partner in life. Like I always, when I was going through difficult times, I would say, and when I reconnected to spirit, I said, I allowed people to let me down because of my actions and things that I needed to learn and boundaries and stuff like that. But I realized spirit never let me down. Never, not once. So when I adopted this concept, everything changed, because then people in my life came in that were different, and they were supportive and loving and kind, and the strength, because I was like, wait a minute, no matter what happens here, I have this. This is my best friend. This is something that will never let me go. When I die, we're still going to be together. So as I can go under that, and I know I'm safe at all times, and I can speak my truth, I can do what I need to do. And I'm telling you guys, if you take this little concept, it's so big, and you will do your dance with the universe, even if you're feeling in a place where you go, I don't feel good today, or I don't feel grateful, or I don't feel I can be in my joy. Go back there. Watch how quickly you can get back to your joy in your center.
Trust that everything is perfect as it is right now, without having to fix anything else. But that's a lot of allowing, and that's a lot of trusting. Baby steps on it. It's like doing that blindfold fall backwards, and you're trusting your coworkers to catch you out in the field. So look, everyone's outstanding in their field, just to do a pun, and they don't know it. They're an expert at the heart. They just got to give themselves a break. Stop doing the work up here and start allowing more here. Interesting. I've got another figure for you, an angel. She's my guardian angel. It's a silhouette photo. You can see other versions of her. There's no one way for these photos. These are real photos of angels. But if you go to the front page of my website, michaelandreford.com, you'll see there's two white overlapping balls of light on the cover of my book. It's Min and Charlotte as little white and blue metallic balls of light with faces in it. So with Min, you can just call her Min. It's the Lakota Sioux word for water. And Awala is a Polynesian morning glory. It's also Ua and La in Hawaiian, rain and sun, sun and rain. So her name's Water Rainbow, Water Morning Glory. Just call her Min. Very professorial, light waves of energy in water. Tracy, if you want to catch another ocean smell, but maybe get some sort of wave action or hear waves or palm fronds.
Hear the nice crashing of the waves. Yeah.
And can you get the next installment of where we can take, we're on a roll here.
where we can take our next teaching and learning. Yeah. Yeah, this is really, she says it really is time for us to elevate who we are. It really is. And I know and elevate how we work with each other and how we come into community and how we use and access community to evolve each other as well. We can't do this journey alone. We cannot do it alone. None of us can. If anyone tells you they can, you can't. And it's time to understand what is real community, what is coming together, what is erasing division, so we can actually have the power in numbers to increase and unlock the power within all of us.
Ooh, beautiful. I'm about to yawn.
Right?
Only that yawn's a release. If you tear
Yeah.
up, yawn. When I do some services sometimes where, I mean, only like 3, 4, 5 times where a person yawns for 3 to 4 hours, but they're the ones who either have a medical condition, they've got to, they've got to let go of a lot of thinking, a lot of structure. We
You know
all get
what?
stuck. Yeah.
When I was really sick and I started doing my journey, I remember one time, so my mentor is no longer with me. And when you said this, I gotta share this. I went in to have my session with her because my body was failing, right? I laughed for a complete hour. Like I couldn't stop laughing. And we're talking about serious stuff. And I actually first got really embarrassed because I'm like, I shouldn't be laughing. This is serious. And she goes, don't be embarrassed. Your body's letting go. It needs to let go. However, it lets go, like you said, right? Laugh, laugh, laugh. I go, I'm still laughing. I don't know what I'm laughing at because there's nothing really funny, but I still laugh and laugh. And within a week to 10 days later, that excruciating pain that I was working on was gone.
And just for the audience, her background in terms of medical, near-death experiences, and more, violence, childhood violence, abduction, you name it, it's there. Check that box. We're all given. It's like what Seneca says: you're not giving anything that the universe doesn't think you can handle. I know that's a lot because you're like, well, what about this? My problem is, my situation is, you don't understand.
Trust me, I was a person sometimes going, I can't stop.
Yeah, yeah.
Screaming. Yeah.
So you've lived this and you've transformed a lot, and it's always a current situation because you have an immediate now. And the second you get cluttered up top, you're almost back to the old patterns, but not to that extreme. So that's back to what we were talking about before. You were talking about before. Again, take us through how it's a decision. It doesn't have to be anything concrete. We don't need more concrete thinking. It's a lighthearted decision to just be like, I don't have to control everything. I don't have to label everything. I can go with the flow more. Take it from there if you could.
Yeah. One of my favorite little tools, and I'm always like, thank you, Spirit, Universe, Divine, God, whatever you guys want to say for love. Like I just tap my heart. I'm just letting that go. Thank you, Spirit. I'm just letting that go. And I come back to center and I'm letting that go. And sometimes I just hold my hand on my heart, right? Yeah. And we release it. I hold my hand on my heart and I just take those few breaths and I'm just like, okay, show me what's good about this I'm not getting, Spirit. Please show me what's good about this I'm not getting. And it's amazing when I ask that, the answers that come. So if you're feeling like you can't get out of your head or something's a block, ask Spirit, say, please show me what's good about this I'm not getting. You will get an answer. You will get centered if you do the release, let go. And all of a sudden you will see that it's like just beautiful magic. The answers come right away, things shift right away. And before you know it, the situation's moved on.
Now I got to do a dumb thing here. Spirit, source, awakening, ascension. These are a lot. It's a lot of lingo. If someone's new to all this, that can be off-putting because it could be almost anything. It could be the Hindu traditions in India. It could be the Native American thing. You're not into it. Yeah. So how do we just simplify this, or is it just remembering that it's the heart and it's the universe and it's really big?
Yes. It's remembering the heart and it's the universe. However, there's something I've learned with working with so many people is in the beginning, you have to go with what works and resonates for you. And that's why I say use whatever works for you. And that's the one you stay with. Like when I first woke up, I couldn't say anything. So I was just like, okay, I'm just connecting. Nothing. Cause I'm like, there's nothing out there. Like, come on. I wouldn't be in this crap if it was. But then I was able to say, okay, universe, And then I could say divine, then I could say spirit, then, they say God, because I mean, it's just love. It's whatever. That's me. So I think I really have noticed with people, you need to go with what works for you. So if you come from a traditional background and there's a certain connection that you've had and it's safe, start there, but don't be surprised if it changes and it grows. And it can be, and we're none of us, we're not swirling lights and fairies and like, it's just, everybody thinks sometimes in this space that you're just swirling the light and everything's wonderful and roses. No, it's not, because you're uncoupling the stuff that no longer works for you. So start with what feels comfortable and then move to getting uncomfortable. So when I looked at myself and I said, why can't I say God? Oh, that was a big question when I asked universe. All the programming that came up, all this stuff, all the lifetimes, all that. I'm like, oh, no wonder I didn't want to say that, And it took me probably 6 months to a year before I could say it after I answered the question, because I had to reconcile and release what was not true for me anymore. And it could have been in a lifetime. Whatever. They're all running at the same time. You and I know that, and you shared that wonderful quote, and they are. But I had to look and go.
Let's mention that for a second. There's the whole concept of past lives. And before the show, there was just an incredible quote from Seth, light being from the 1970s. If anybody remembers Jane Roberts, the beginning of the whole New Age thing, and people can meet Seth. But talking about how all your past lives, everything is really simultaneous happening if you take out the time-space factor. It's a lot to grasp, but it was a beautiful quote that we were talking about before the show.
And it's true, because they are all running at the same time. That's why, like, I don't go into, if I'm working and I see something, it's because it's happening in their time now. It's got to just go, right? Like you said, love, let it go. But that's the thing that people need to also understand is, so when I finally was able to reconcile with what God meant to me, the word meant to me, which was pure love within me and you and everybody else, then this completion came, and I felt solid, and then I could say it. But I see, if I say it to people, it can trigger them because they still have the pattern that I had when I first woke up. So that's why I say, go with what works for you. Don't judge where it is, but be open to allowing it to change when you ask that question. Yeah.
Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous.
Yeah.
Okay. What flower or smell or experience are you getting from Joy right now? Yay.
They just came up right away. I didn't have to stop on that one. I'm like, oh, there's a bunch of roses.
And can you just hear laughter, bells, or angels singing, or all three, all the above? Answer D.
Yeah. Everything.
Okay, I've got Big Mary for you. Now, I'm using a photo that's a human face, but I love it. I forgot about this photo for a couple of years. This one, if people want to let the eyes shine more, we all know a photo is static and can't do anything. Totally not true. So same thing with all of our situations where we know our cousin's the biggest jerk in the world over in Alberta or down in LA, but not quite true in the same sense. What can we allow for? What change? How much more love can we allow for? There's Mary. If people want to see a little bit of sparkles in the air, rainbow light sparkles around them, they can peripheral of their eyes, like 3 inches, 6 centimeters away. And if everyone can just feel a lot of love, a lot of extra compassion, a lot of just breathing space, I like that. And if you can take 3 deep breaths, if anything's popping up, resistance, a thought, you don't understand my cousin in LA, he's a jerk, take a big exhale. Exhale like a whale, send it out over the Pacific or the Atlantic to Russia. No offense to Russia, but why not? And I can't see you, Tracy. That's tracylclark.com in Ontario. Thank you, Tracy, for being here today. But what do you get?
She actually said, none of us have really tapped into the fullness of the million times expansion that we have in our love.
And I've got
there's like a million times more that we can open up to.
They're Native American chiefs. We'll bring them in later. Dull Knife, Red Shirt, Geronimo, hundreds or thousands have met those guys. They're fun. Unconditional love spirit guides, much more closer to earth, easier to relate to. But they once said about her, she's love. She's everything we need, talking about Mary. If we all had her faith and trust, there'd be no more need for fear or worry. So with that, I'm going to bring in Red Shirt, unconditional love, gentlest mom in the world. Not a manly description, but it doesn't matter. He's so soft-spoken. he's compassion, compassion, compassion. He's wearing a U.S. presidential medal day after the photo was taken. He's at the White House horseback in a parade on Pennsylvania Ave with Geronimo. But you can hear from him something very specific about all this, and then we'll have you keep going on that thread if you could.
Yeah. He's very much about activating the inner strength. And I think people have to really look that we have and I love what he said there, activate more of your inner strength. We have it, but there's always more that we can build upon. And they keep showing this image today of like building a high rise kind of, right? Like we're building up, we're building up, we're building up. We're going up to the different levels, and every floor we're going up to another level. And it's important to keep going up another level.
So let's talk more. It's just more. We don't have to get into the details of the other side, our side,
Nope.
what our details are. It's
Nope.
always more.
Yeah.
Ask more, allow more.
Yeah.
Can we get into that? It's back to that Sherlock Holmes magnifying glass. It's getting out of our own way and stop with the whole processes or processing.
Well,
I've watched.
yeah, like what more can I experience? What more could I take out of this? Like you're saying, like what more could I elevate to? What more do I have within me to give? What more do I have to learn? What more, like even just asking yourself that question, what else could I have in this experience, and which more could I take from it? So if you're taking what you require from that experience, you're going to keep elevating up.
Mm. So remember the sailboat analogy with the kelp on the
Yes.
dagger board or the keel or the rudder, or any of the other analogies, the Sherlock Holmes thing. So there's something called compassion. If we took 100 angels and 20,000 individuals, and every day they asked a definition, hey, angels, tell me a definition of compassion. You could get unlimited numbers of definitions for compassion. Compassion for all is life. Our passed over dog answered once, a walk is compassion. So compassion's the invisible oil in the machinery, if you want. It's what you're trusting more and using more of, and it's a perspective substituting for the Sherlock Holmes glass that allows you to interact with life, to ask more, to allow more, to love more, and all the mores. So can we talk, or can you tell us more about compassion, love, life? But I'll give you a leg up. There's Dull Knife and there's Geronimo, two more Native American unconditional love spirit guides that will help you with that. Some key phrases. Not that you couldn't go on.
Yeah. What they're sharing, and I'm going to put this in the best context that I can, is if we can have more compassion for ourselves and compassion for others, in the sense of we operate from what we know, and other people operate from what they know. And if we could come to somebody, say you meet someone and you notice a pattern or something, rather than, and you can do this with yourself, rather than getting mad at yourself or beating up yourself or saying, or them, right? People getting, why do you do that? How about coming to a point of, you may not understand you do this, or you may not understand why, but I want to be here as an open, kind heart, if I can, to offer you a hand for you to change and transition. If you choose, And this is why they don't need to choose. They can stay there, but you've opened your heart to say, I'm here in a compassionate, loving manner. If you choose, which also that energy will come back to you. So if you're in yourself beating yourself up, how about saying, look, like I'm going to offer myself more compassion that I was in this situation and love myself through it, because now again, you see where you've come from and why you entered that with a certain skill set, but now you've grown. So the more compassion we come to with everybody we interact with, it's a boomerang effect from the universe that's going to increase within us. So it doesn't mean you're being walked on, and it doesn't mean that you're allowing. So you still have respect for self to say, I totally, you do you be you, but here's my hand if you need it. And if you don't, then I'm having enough respect for myself to move along. In
And you don't
any,
have to say that out loud necessarily. It could be a
no,
subconscious universal chat.
for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. And you can have that universal chat to say, universe, exactly, like I'm going to have enough compassion for myself, universe, that I'm going to tackle this situation the way I need to, but I need you to also help me remove myself from it if it's not respectful for me.
Hmm.
And then the universe will bring it in. And there's things you can't say to somebody, they're not going to get it. So ask the universe to help you to change and transition that energy. And then again, that compassion it will grow. It will grow because you always have an understanding that we're all coming to life with different experiences at different levels and different learnings. So if you and I, Michael, are sitting on the 34th floor of a building, having a great cup of tea, and we're sitting there, a cup of coffee, whatever, and we're having a great chat, and somebody down on the first floor is yelling at us, we're not going to hear them. We're not going to know what's going on because we're not in that same frequency. But if we all of a sudden you do catch a glimpse of them, then they're asking to elevate. So through our compassion, we can offer that. They will choose if they want to elevate, and we go back up to our floor and have a good time.
Hmm. I'm reminded of a personal experience. This is in the last year and a half. I was part of an organization. This is going to be so lacking details. It'll be awesome. But there was some behavior going on that you don't have to accept it. It's not necessary. It was a waste of energy and time, but you've got to do something about it. What Eckhart Tolle talks about, you either walk away, you make some decisions, you try to communicate about it, you do whatever you're supposed to do as an adult. But I did the whole survey says, Family Feud style. I went around to some adults and I'm like, hey, this is the situation. What do I do here? Do I get up from the table the next time I get a comment? Do I get up and say, hey, we'll conduct the meeting when you're ready to, and not make it a big deal, but boop, gone. And that's exactly what happened. And I think I got out pretty good, but I forgot my chair. It was a folding chair, a nice folding chair. And so it was one of those Costanza moments out of Seinfeld where I'm like, oh my God, I got to go back to that situation where I just walked away. I did the adult, not a mean adult thing, but a proper adult thing.
Adulting.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, I forgot my chair.
Today.
Yeah, and I don't want to lose that chair. It's what I would use at if there's what do you call those weekend holistic fairs or whatever. And I want that chair back. It's a director's chair type thing. So I'm like, I got to go back to get the chair. Boy, could this be embarrassing, but it wasn't. It gave me a chance to resign with just, hey, I resign. I'm good with this. And to walk away with not a spiteful phrase, but just like, hey, people do your jobs. Took my chair and that was it. But the universe gave me a way to get out with my head high. And I thought that was interesting. It's not something I would have predicted 2 hours earlier. Look, the universe has a million ways to handle anything. It's not like anything that you're doing in the rest of your life they haven't seen before. But from your perspective, you can have more miracles, more sparkle, more pizzazz, more fun, more sass. And I don't know if anybody's picking up on this, but when you see Tracy talk about these topics, she's done some of the work. And I'm understating it big time. So the confidence that you see in Ontario right now, this is what we're talking about. There's a little bit of swagger. There's something. So I'm complimenting you now, and I'm getting the snarky laugh.
23 years in the making. Yeah, just a few years. Yeah.
1 year, according to the age app that you just ran.
Yeah. Apparently, on the age app, I asked how old I was. I was 1.
And does that get 100,000 views on TikTok?
That's 1. And some of them are up to 1 million views. So we're good. But that's like 1. If I'm 1 years old, I get to start over again, right?
Exactly. Okay, I've got Archangel Michael and an angel named Claire for you, who's resilience. We'll do Michael first. You can just give us a mantra, whatever. I think you two can figure it out.
I am unstoppable.
Good mantra.
Yeah.
And as one of our recent guests just said, you can always chop it off too and just stick with I am.
You can. Yeah, you can do that. Yep.
Okay. I heard that recently for the first time and I was like, brilliant.
You can.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I am. Yep, for sure.
Okay. And here's Claire for resilience. If people want to put their hand out, even though there's 2 computer screens and a photo, it doesn't matter. You can feel what you feel. Do not judge. Have your boat rocked in a nice way. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you get?
I can soar. I can soar is what she says. You don't have to always go to I am, but I can soar. You got to put that anchor, like I can. Like you can say I am soaring if you want, but I can anchors in a little bit more so you can soar. You can fly if you want to say that.
So it's like giving yourself permission.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I can do it, like the little engine. I think I can. I think I can, right? I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. But it's an anchor. It's I can. Yeah.
Okay, so what's a homework assignment you want to give everybody out there? It could be easy, go grab a cup of tea, but give us something that you're like, go do it. Just take a chance.
In creating their realities? Would that be?
Anything. And
Okay.
if you need a little assistance,
Ah, this is what I'd like people to do. They just showed me. I'm reclaiming all the pieces and fragments of who I am back to me now. I'm reclaiming all the pieces and all the fragments back to me now. What does that mean? For people, places, and things that you have given parts of yourself away, I challenge you to go and 3, 4, 5 times a day, just keep saying, I'm reclaiming all of who I am. So those energies that you let, sometimes they linger out there, reclaim them all back so you can be continuing to be the wholeness that you are, and you'll feel it inside.
no, the enthusiastic side of me is like yelling, you just won the jackpot. If you've been giving, it's a chance to just have all of Vegas, forget one casino, to come back in. And there's a lot of people out there who are professional givers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. We did this before the show. We've done this before. What color do you see on the lighter? Do you, if anybody out there wants to go big, go bold, don't go home because you're probably already home watching. But here's Joy. Have her do a little bit of pink light above the normal Bic lighter light that you see.
Always pink and beautiful.
Are you seeing pink all around the light?
It's all around. It's still there.
You're
But
crazy.
we started with that. So it's got so much joy with how we started that it's just still there, right? Because we get to have fun all the time.
Now, my finger is going to be the Bic lighter. And folks at home, take a deep breath, relax. My only rule or structure, I'm going to kick it out there or put it out to you. Just silently don't get caught at the supermarket doing this. Just be like angels. Yeah. Angels, get me out of my head, into my heart. Make this nice. Rock and roll. Amen. Om Sai Ram. What am I skipping? Thank you. Thanks. You got to own it your way. Just what Tracy's been saying about using your lingo, rocking what you've got your way. But so ask angels to make it nice. Ask angels to see a little bit of light off my fingertip. And I'm not off screen. I've done that before and been like, whoops. Okay, Tracy, what are you seeing here? But if people want to see my aura, stare at my nose, but for extra help, stare at my forehead and see at least an inch of light everywhere.
It's actually interesting because there's a beautiful line of green, just a nice light green, like not thick, just beautiful coming off your finger. It's gorgeous.
And you can ask Joy, Charlotte, Geronimo to add extra now so that you go, whoa, extra color just came in.
Oh, yeah. There's some pink in there. There's some yellow in there. There's some green in there. Vibrant blue. You got a few going on there.
Beautiful, nice. And this is the point, is it's constant flows of love, vibration, colors beyond human definition. It's in you, it's around you, it's a constant. If you remove yourself from the words, the details, the attachments, the other Sherlock Holmes glass that wasn't helpful, wasn't getting you any of the happiness or anything like that. I hate to say it that way, but if you just detach a little, you get to be part of the flow. So with your permission, one more exercise. Do you mind just grabbing Joy? Have her show up as pink light on your finger. Enjoy it like you're getting a ring or you've gotten a ring and you're admiring your own ring. See some pink light. And in a second, turn it to one finger. And you've done this before, I believe, with the write love or something in the air, joy, and see pink light streaming off your finger. It's a lot, but anybody at home could just do this and see pink light coming off. You got to go loosey-goosey. You got to find that fun, sparkly inner side of you, but you don't have to do anything. Just allow, breathe. Put some music on, go grab the glass of wine, go get tea, go walk your dog, touch a tree, walk barefoot first, go shower, jump in the pool with your clothes on. Guarantee you've let go. Okay, so did you get a little bit of pink light? And can you do something for us with pink light?
Do we want to draw through?
Yeah.
We're going to actually, it's funny. You can follow my finger, but it's all gratitude plus love. Gratitude plus love. That's what we're drawing. Well, I'll write it. I'll write it. My messy plus, right? Love in the pink.
And Tracy mentioned before, bed is one of your most powerful opportunities to let go of what you think you can let go of and more than you think you can let go of, to ask angels to make it nice. And then there's dream time or unconsciousness, consciousness time, earth school time, classes, university classes, whatever you want to call it. And then there's waking up in the morning. And I want to mention that the first second you wake up, first second, look at some recessed pot lights. I'm not going to tilt my camera to show them, but everyone's got some of those around. If you want, and you can remember before you know your name, before you know what day of the week it is, before you remember what happened yesterday, what you've got to do today, you will see a beach ball of rainbow light around the nearest recessed pot light. And the second you watch your thinking come in, it shrinks a little. And then you're like, wow, it's really pretty, but what am I seeing again? It just shrinks a little more. At some point, could be, if you're lucky, over the cup of coffee, an hour later, it finally goes away. You're incredible at just enjoying. This is a little bit about enjoying life, enjoying the ride, enjoying what you've already been given, enjoying what you've had all along, and you never lost, no matter what happened to you, no matter what the buts. My situation is, you don't understand my problem is. There's a real rub there. How about you talk to us about that rub? Life versus reality versus potential versus letting go.
Yeah, one of the things too, I'll just say that I like to do when I'm waking up, I've trained myself now. I just say, I activate the light within, I activate the light within, I activate the light within. And I've trained myself. That's how I come out of my sleep, right? Because it allows that energy to sustain longer. And it's easy to get in the flow of life and unplug. But I'll tell you that the more you keep saying, I'm expanding and activating that light within, those moments last longer and longer and longer. And what you'll do is if you catch yourself out of it, you'll catch yourself quicker. And then you'll bring yourself back to that energy and into that light and that groundedness. And it's in that place where then again, things will continue to flow and shift. So back to the awareness, back to, being able to extend that time. And it's a thing, like you said, it may last for a second, then all of a sudden it lasts for an hour. But if you're aware of it, it can last for a couple hours. I know in my evening time, like when I'm like sort of, I like my evenings. I teach a lot, sure, in the evenings, but when I'm in my evenings, that's my kind of quiet space, right? I'll zen out or whatever I'm doing. Very active. Like my house is very active and I have a lot of connection with spirit at that time. So that energy magnifies for me before I go to bed. And it's quite lovely, but I've trained myself to do it. And I've invited the universe to do that with me. So we have to keep inviting the universe to come in to help us.
What's one of your favorite songs that you consider to be high vibe and in some way just helps you let go and connect?
Um, you probably can't hear it on the speaker, but I love actually, okay, I do listen to a lot of binaural beats, but one of my friends recently got me back into the theme song from The Piano. I don't know if you ever saw the show The Piano, the movie.
The one that was it New Zealand?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
years ago. I think it came out in the 90s or whatever. But
Holly Hunt. Did I get it right? No.
yeah, I think she was in it. Holly, somewhere. Yeah, I can't remember. If you just Google theme song from
Yeah,
Piano,
the guy from Reservoir Dogs is.
yeah, it's so. Oh my word, it'll just take you away to a new place. I just love it right now because I do listen to a lot of binaural beats. I do like them in my background when I'm working. I like to listen, but see, I love classical music. I played in my house for me, the vibration. But for me, I love that. I love listening to people like Andre Bocelli and stuff when I cook and whatever. But that resonates with me. And like I said, with the piano, it resonates. Like it just there I am. However, I will go put on my 80s music and dance my ass off in my house as well. So it depends on where your space is. And then that again will bring in the energy. And to me, I believe music has so many abilities to touch our soul. That's why spirit, bless so many amazing, talented people out there. And again, you got to follow what makes you joyous. Like, don't sit in that music that's going, oh, my whole life, be mindful for sure. But you might need that. If you need a good cry because you want to get the energy out, you might require that music at that time. But for me, for the most part, when I'm creating and I'm bringing in, it's literally, I love really good classical music. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And that's why right now I'm into the theme song of the piano. When I heard it again, I was like, oh, I remember being in the theater crying to that, right? It just invokes so much power and beauty. And And I was like, so when he's like, oh, you should listen to this again. And I was like, oh my gosh, as soon as I heard it, it was like, yes, you have to revisit this. So it's on one of my playlists right now.
Ooh. Okay, so I love music as a metaphor. There was a song you loved in 12th grade or 10 years ago. The song never changed, but we get tired of it fast. It could be How Soon Is Now, the Smiths, 1988 or so. And for others, that would probably be the
Being so depressed, it was those really heavy Depeche Mode songs. They have great ones, right?
yes.
They're really heavy, like I'm just gonna kill myself. Those were my things in high school, guys. That's how happy I was.
Yeah, I forget if it was Agent Orange or Personal
Yeah.
Jesus, all the rest. I know
Yeah.
where I was when I heard those songs. And they are,
Personal
some of them are
Jesus,
very
like,
heavy, but there's People Are People.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm at a boarding school outside of Boston, Andover, for 4 years. I think it's 10th grade. A guy from Japan gave me a Japanese cassette of Depeche Mode. And here's how I approach everything: spirituality, meeting Plato. It took me 6 months after I met Plato to accept that he was the real Plato, philosopher
Yeah.
from Greece. Native American chiefs, you name it. If I'm slow about something, I'm slow. So take heart. I listen to People Are People, and I'm doing my homework,
Right.
and I've got the old cassette thing, and I would back it up, play it again, back it up, play it again. I don't want to hear any of the other music. I just know People Are People, and that's good enough for me. And I accidentally listened to the follow-up song. I was too busy on my math problem. And that's how I discovered the rest of Depeche Mode, because I was refusing to pay attention to what was sitting in my cassette player and to appreciate the whole lesson. And think about every song you've eventually rejected. You're like, oh, or you don't like it, but a year later, it's your favorite thing. Radiohead,
Hey, oh yeah, exactly. Radiohead. And I have
Lotus
to
Flower.
tell you, on the weekend, I was out in my convertible. I'm driving. And I'm listening to the upbeat Depeche Mode. I really was on the weekend with my friend, and we were laughing. And I'm like, "This is a great song," but it was all the high, fun kind of, in dancing outside in the sun. So exactly like you said, it changes. It changes. And those heavier ones, I don't have them on my playlist because when they come on, I'm like, I don't want to listen to that. No way. So
It's
we
our
still,
perspective. It's our, are we tight as a little ball, or are we expansive 100 feet out in every direction? And if you're expansive, pretty much any music could be appreciated.
mm-hmm,
Jamaican this,
yep,
India that, cultural this, cultural that. So Radiohead, Lotus
yeah.
Flower, 5 minutes exact. I use that to knock people out, not literally. But if people come to you and say, hey, I have trouble meditating, I'm like, call it taking a nap, play Lotus Flower, grab a stuffed animal, get a real pillow. Don't lie in your bed. The one place you sleep, don't pick that. Pick
Yeah.
anywhere, back patio in the sun, put a beach towel down, get a pillow,
Yeah.
feel comfortable, grab your stuffed tiger, and
Yep.
play Lotus Flower on repeat and watch what happens. You might get light on your eyelids, but music to me is such a metaphor in so many ways. It's like a microcosm of life.
Yes, it
We
really
stopped
is.
going to, a lot of us stopped going to concerts. We don't even know what bands we would want to go see as a concert.
Yeah, I'm the same
Yeah.
way.
We don't know who's coming to town. We
Can't
don't
tell.
even know the venues where we would be comfortable to go.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you either. I have no concept. It's funny you say that because yeah, I have no concept.
Yeah. So we all have a homework assignment, which is find some bands, find the venues. Cannons, which is a not new band, they've been around a while. Cannons is coming to Austin, Texas this fall, at Stubbs and Amphitheater. That's incredible. It's a small venue. Maybe they can fit 2,000. I think it's more like 1,000. Very, very good flows in there. When I was popping, I was rejecting a lot of stuff. I would meet a lot of intuitive people who are like, oh, I've got a message to tell you. And I would flip out because I'm like, another intuitive person telling me they're seeing my light, stuff's happening. I was scared. At this concert, I don't really want to talk to anybody. It's a great band. I think it was M83 out of France. It's a kind of an off the beaten trail path type band. And two women come up and they're like, it's him. And they start to talk to me and then they disappeared. And then they're like, no, it's him. They came back. They're like, we're supposed to help you feel love, complete connection to the universe. And they were teaching me grounding, the concept of sending anything that doesn't serve back into the earth, getting rid of your stress. And so two women who work at the same company, healers on the side, they're showing me how to breathe, how to connect. And I swear to God, the only way I know how to describe this, I once had to have nasal surgery. I'd swallowed a bug on a track. Okay, I'm admitting it. I was the bug guy at Sibley Hospital. Had I not gotten it done, I would have died. Because you can't have any fungus up here growing in your sinus cavity. Yeah. So long story short, when they took the packing out, that first breath through my nose felt like I had the greatest breath of all time. And that's the only way I know how to describe being connected to all love in the middle of a concert, They're showing me how to get rid of my stress, how to connect to all, and then how to send love out at the concert. So I've never felt anything more extreme. I don't know how to say this, more love and more connection. And I've got a vague memory of it. And I think I've had a couple moments where if you will just allow, let the universe do all the filling in, let your soul flow through you. When you're connected to the higher self, your eyes sparkle, your love, everything you touch, whether you know it or not, and it could be a whole continent away, is love too. With that, have Joy and you chat about you're very good at bringing structure to this in the adult way, not knocking any of this. You're amazing, Grace, how you describe stuff. So can you take with what's been given here and give us a little more oomph for the audience?
Yeah. It's like what you said. It's you breathe in love, you breathe out love. You got to remind yourself, you breathe in the love. Like you said, when you take that out, right? You could breathe and you could feel, and you can breathe that in, you can breathe that out, and use music if you need to, or use dance if you need to, use creativity, drawing, whatever. Get into the joy. What she says is get into the joy of your creative side. And creativity can be different. Like for me, and I say this, I find my business very creative. I'm writing a new book, very creative, right? Like all this of creativity brings your joy and it will expand your love, and use all of it. And you have all of these tools at your disposal. So if you use them and feel, that's why music is so powerful with love, right? And breathing in that love is it invokes feeling. Like if you've ever been around a native drumming circle,
Mm.
like I grew up on a native reserve as a child, I can tell you it's so powerful, right? And you just feel it, and you feel the drums beating through your blood is like literally beating with the drums, and it's just you're connecting to the earth. So using these things that are around you. I took it for granted as a child. I actually enjoyed it more as an older person. I just thought this was kind of normal. It's like how I used to see the Northern Lights all the time, and I thought everybody did. So when someone's like, "Oh, I don't want to see the Northern Lights," I remember the first time, like, doesn't anybody see them? What are you talking about? I see them all the time. And they're like, "You see them?" I'm like, "Yeah, we grew up so far north, we'd see them all the time." But I thought everybody did, right? So we can take these experiences and share them, which then expands the love in us, the joy in us, which that will become, that becomes infectious. Like so many people spend so much time, they're just showing us getting all worried about, oh, I'm going to get this virus and everybody's going back to school and they're all in school and, oh, we're all getting sick. Well, why can't we flip that and be infectious with love and joy and kindness, which will then wipe out the vibration of that?
Mm.
So let's be infectious to each other with spreading that love, that joy, that kindness, which again, what does it do? Elevates us.
And that's back to, again, whether it's feeling, sensation, vibration, smell, taste, whatever,
Ever.
you can let the universe come in and touch your essence, your being with a little extra love. It could be your own self, your higher self, your soul. It could be just your angel crew, your cheerleading squad, your ancestors. So asking, just be like, hey, universe, I'll take 1% of 1% of what she's having. And
Yeah.
so with that, you mentioned the drumming. Can you
Yeah.
ask Dolnay Fred Church Geronimo for some light music or drum beat around you?
Mm-hmm.
And anyone at home, you can hear this. I'm going to have people do 5 different exercises at once because 3 will get through. Your ego, your thinking, your resistance, your doubting, your judging is going to want to block at least 1 or 2 things. So have them bring you a Native American sacred smell. Douglas fir, juniper, sage, tobacco, sweetgrass. There's a million smells. Cedar, pine. You get the idea. Just a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful campfire smoke. But also ask for a hug. Feel a hug down your back. Put your hand up to the photos and feel vibration on your hand. Million ways to feel it on your hand. Have one of these guys wink, smile, or the eagle feather moves for red shirt. And then ask a question. Keep it simple. It's what Tracy said earlier. Don't go for your hardest. Just ask, hey, what do I need to know in life right now? If you're judging at all, just hear trust more,
Yeah.
but hear their voice. And then if you don't mind, can you get a theme that you can speak to from your personal experience, both from the reservation, from your life path, and especially from recently? God knows where this is coming from, but something really cool that is pertinent to all this.
Never give up. You're always on the brink of a miracle.
Never give up. You're always on the brink of a miracle. And every moment is the miracle. And it's the discovering that you can make miracles with every second
You're
of
always
just
walking in a miracle, but you know, my thing to me is never give up at all costs. It got me through. And no matter how challenging something appeared, I just went back in and I'm like, I have a choice. I'm not giving up. And sometimes, we can look at things and we go, oh, we got this again, or this again, or this again. But here's the thing. If you look at a situation that maybe plays out, like I've had things that played out in my life for a decade or 2 decades, you're like, really? Oh my God. I could give up and I could say, well, maybe that's not for me. Maybe that dream or that vision isn't for me. And I've learned this in my life. I'm like, wait a minute. Just because this is here, it doesn't mean. And I can tell you, almost everything shows up better and better and better. But if I'd given up, life would be in a very different position today. I
okay.
wouldn't be here. I'd be dead. But what I say to people is never, ever, ever give up on your dreams. Don't give up on your hopes. Don't say, oh, I'm this age. Like, get rid of all of that. Just say, look, I'm going to keep showing up and I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep showing up. I'm not going to give up at all costs. All costs. You have to be in your life at all costs because nobody else is going to care about you to go in at all costs. And that's what I learned myself. I needed to go in at all costs because the only person that's going to care the most about me is me while I'm here. And that changed my life.
Amazing. Seth from the 1970s. We talked about this before the show. Jane Roberts kind of kicked off the whole new age thing. You can find Seth Speaks, The Nature of Reality. There's some books up on my shelf, probably over here, actually, for Seth. I find it kind of complex. Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks, A Group of Light Beings are much easier, much more pithy, great quotes on Instagram. It can hit you at exactly the right time. So check out Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks. But Seth talks about the nature of reality, how consciousness, your consciousness, you have no limits. If we only understood what Mary was talking about just earlier, if only you could grasp how simple it is, how immediate it is, how it's here, your everything around you has been created by you, which is a curse word to understand, to allow for, to be like, well, then what about this? How did I get laid off? What about this? It's not about that. We're talking the entire time about perspective, the Sherlock Holmes glass, the kelp on the dagger board, the keel, the resistance we have to the actual dynamics of life.
You know what? And you said something right there. I'm a prime example of this. When I was in, corporate and then working with capital and alternative investing, all that, and the company, the last one that I was with, um, huge amounts of money, huge hundreds of millions of dollars. And after '08, whatever, and then the way that dissolved. And there was a lot of dreams and visions around it for doing other things. I could have, if it had a different turn, I would have probably maybe still been there. Who knows? Um, but do you go through the shock of it? Yeah, okay, because you have a different plan or vision. Did I? Yeah. Did I immediately, the first reaction, although I was in this space and loving this space, the first reaction was single parent, got to go back downtown. I got to go work downtown now, right? Got to get that job, go work downtown. And because that was the 3D space of, oh, I got to feed my kids. So that's what kicked in right away. Even though I'm loving what I'm doing at the same time in the spiritual space. And a lot of people would come into my office asking me spiritual questions versus, money questions, right? Very different. And there was a moment where I had this, I came home from downtown and I had the opportunity. It was going, okay, come here or go do what you love. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going in at all costs to do what I love. If I don't, I can always go back down there. That's what I said to myself. The minute I said that I was going to go into what I'm doing today, I had no idea what it was going to look like. I had no idea, like where I was going to really start at the time. I walked down the stairs and it was like somebody lifted literally 500 pounds of potatoes off my shoulders, like this, gone. And this peace came over me where I bet you it was probably 2 months I walked around going like this. Is it going? Like leaving? Like what's happening here? And everything from that, I'm not saying I didn't have to learn other things. And, I wasn't on social media. And at the time, there wasn't as much, but I didn't like it. I'm like, oh, website. No, I built it word of mouth because that's how I was. I built everything word of mouth. I didn't want to, those were like things like, oh, I don't want to do social media. Oh, like I have my own issues with it, but I had to learn, and it wasn't, there were things to learn, and it just moved and moved and moved and moved, where I get to wake up every day and it's like being a little kid running to the playground in the monkey bars every day, because I get to love what I do every day. I could never say that before. I was selling my soul, I always say, to the devil for the paycheck, because I was like ingrained in my head, you got to do it this way because you got to feed your kids. You got to do it this way because you got to feed your kids. That was the programming. And when I unplugged from that programming, universe took care of the rest.
Mm.
Now I get to play every day.
So for those at home who want to have something lifted off their shoulders, I'm going to give you your out, because you may be like, well, I don't know if I can ask two angels, Archangel Michael and Charlotte, to lift my weight off of me. They've got huge shoulders themselves, or wheelbarrows if you want. They'll put the topic, the family member, the job, the situation, your stress, the whatever, the doubt, the fear, the worry in that wheelbarrow for you. So leave your eyes on them. Ask them to do that. Ask for a smell if you need to be distracted. And if you need to, you're not the type that's totally willing to just all the way let go. Ask to keep the wheelbarrow in sight, but know that they're 100% carrying the topic, you're covered, and that you can breathe easier. Put your hand out, feel their vibe, catch floral smell. If you have to close your eyes and feel them come in, maybe you'll see a little light on your eyelids. I like looking at the photos because you're letting them maybe move in the photo, change color. Notice Archangel Michael's border, a little bit of purple in there, but there's a little bit of extra color on the other edge. And for Americans, I'll guilt you right now, and I'm being facetious or joking right now, but let angels do their jobs. Get out of your head, get out of your own way, get down to your heart. And when you put it that way, it almost kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Right.
Tracy, what else do you have for us? What's going on for you? What can we do to kind of look you up? It's tracylclark.com. You said you were working on a book.
I am working on a book. I have 3, as you know. I have the 2 prayers, and they're on Amazon, and God, Where Are You? It's Me. That's my story. We just, as you know, the app came out this summer, so that's finally out, and activations, and yeah, we're just sort of, we're moving through. We have lots of things to help people if they want. I'm known as the tool lady because I believe everybody needs to follow their own inner guidance. There's no gurus, there's no master. What I've developed around is to say, here's a lot of tools you can use. Here's things that are going on right now. We can help and work together, a community, whatever. But take the tools and move them your way. Take the tools and use them your way. Mold them your way, and that's where your real power comes out. And yeah, I don't know, we keep growing, we keep shifting, and we keep listening to spirit. So whatever spirit has next, but right now my head is down to, I said it took me 8 years to write the first book, took me a year to write the other 2, and I don't know how long this one will take, but I'm hoping it won't take too long.
You can't tell anybody because it's going to be like this, and then no one will believe you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's a very let's just say it's book slash workbook to help people with a lot of
Beautiful.
things that we discussed. And as we're working into this new earth, that one of the things, with me, is I like to shine a light to help the people find their way over to our earth and over to where we're going. And I think we all have our different roles that we play in different spaces, but lots of new opportunities are showing. So we'll just see which ones land. Yeah.
Good. And I've been having this Wayne Dyer quote come up for the last half an hour, which is, if you change the way you look at things, finding a fresh perspective, just a broader perspective and a more allowing, then the things you look at change. And I kind of felt like that's one of the themes of today. Now, I've got kind of, if this is a game show, why not? With angels and loving guides from India, Native American chiefs, your relatives, can I put up a lightning round, sort of a bunch of extra photos? Sai Baba from India. Get a smell from India, that best incense you could never buy at any store. Get a mantra and a quick reminder for us all.
Stay on path.
Say that again.
Stay on path.
Stay on path. Love it. Lucy's an angel whose patience
Well, it's interesting because she's like, we all need to be more patient and kind with what we're walking through right now.
Nice. And you have to put Lucy in the sky with diamonds on and dance in your living room, do it. But here's Lucy for people, integral part of your life experience. 4 archangels: Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel.
Fly and expand and don't look back.
Nice.
Yeah.
Canadian humor coming from Matt. Don't call her Mackenzie. She's everything plants, animals, nature, but she's
Jump, jump, jump. That's so cute. She's like, jump, jump, jump. It's like jump, jump, jump right away.
Here's Heather, who makes hearts in her photos. She's compassion. I've seen her in Maui, Sweden, New York, and an Austin bookstore, and showing up in human form. So don't limit. Angels can be that crazy stranger with sparkly eyes who's super kind. For you can't figure out why they're so kind to you. A week later, you're like, who was that person?
Yeah, she's funny. She says, if you ask, you'll meet me soon.
Okay, so privately, because you'll add it in the comment section of the show later, ask her for something really amazing. Maybe we'll never hear about it, but everyone should do this at home because we're not used to breaking our boundaries or barriers. What we're even asking for, we don't even know. No. Say, make it nice. Universe, they know what's going to be the most fun for you. Plato, we talked about him. No hugs. They're sweaty. A fist pump, tap on the shoulder is good. Anybody wants to see his face? There's an old man face with the, sorry, no offense to Plato, but mustache, beard, eyes, nose.
Mm-hmm.
What do you get?
Yeah. Stay focused.
Mother Teresa. Remember, laughter is love is one of my favorite lines from her.
Love, love, love. Yeah, just keep on spreading it.
And last 3, we've got a fairy named Ginger. Fairies exist. I hate to break it to folks. Just let it be.
Be free.
And the rainbow light. Can you put your hand out, feel some rainbow light, and then take the glitter with you? You only have to see it. But if anybody's really gung-ho, Tracy may let you into her world and you can see a little bit of rainbow glitter, or it's Ginger. Maybe we can blame the fairy here. Can't blame Canada. Let's blame the fairy. See a little bit of rainbow glitter around you. And if you can't do it right now because you're doubting or you're thinking, you're being human. That's what we all do. Ask for some rainbow glitter during the rest of your day, during the week. What are you going to allow for? Don't judge it. Don't compartmentalize it. We're talking about another human, yourself, that situation, this situation. Learn to roll the dice. Spin the, is it Twister, that board game from the 70s? Yeah. Toss the game out. Keep the wheel. Write in stuff on the wheel. Keep it on your kitchen counter. Spin it. It says, go have a cup of tea. Another entry point you've written down, go take a walk. Walk the dog. Meditate. Find a way to challenge yourself for growth, because the last thing we want to do is go here to grow and experience something more. Here's Dale, coached a famous gymnast who won a lot of golds.
Yeah.
And I promised Socrates, So we're going to do Herb, the angel, who is another life coach. This is like a life coach. Dale is like a life coach from really far up, but very endearing. If anybody remembers the Hollywood actor Greg Kinnear, Heaven is for Real, he was in. He was in that Humphrey Bogart makeover, Sabrina. Okay, so Greg Kinnear, close your eyes and get a little vision of him that way. And then the way I'm going to try to describe Socrates is more like, or Herb the angel, who played Socrates in Dan Millman's Peaceful Warrior. Forgive me, Dan. Go buy all Dan's books, do his seminars, enjoy Dan. Herb is like Jeff Bridges, a big kahuna figure with tuft of hair, gold chain. When he walks on a beach with sandals, I would trip. You know, it's hard on a beach with the thick sand. He walks like he owns the beach. He gives big bear hugs. He's incredible. They're both coaches for all things sports, life, business, your personal development, tons of humor. So with that, Greg Kinnear, skinny and, you know, dapper. Here's something about Herb the angel that he's going to describe Herb for us. I don't have a photo. So if you don't mind sharing what you hear about Herb from Dale right now, what is...
We're on this journey together. You're not alone. It's a team.
Cool. And with your permission, close your eyes, be on a beach somewhere. It could be Maui. And feel a big bear hug, a big guffaw. I don't know how to say this. But that angel's coming up. Big Kahuna Herb, who is Socrates and Peaceful Warrior, and just get a good shot of not adrenaline, but confidence, like the je ne sais quoi, the joie de vivre in life. It's meant to be lived.
It sure is. It's beautiful.
Oof. Did we do okay today? Do you think we had an impact?
100%. If people take the time and rewatch, they're going to get a lot of great nuggets and things to practice, and just really, it's time. It's time to just own all of who you are and your essence. It's there. It's beautiful.
Well, my public service announcement for everyone watching, if you've gotten to this point, comment, share, like, what else? Just simply enjoy this. Go back to your favorite parts, but do someone else a favor who's watching. Remember, we're all shy. So if you've actually done something here, we gave you like 15 different exercises in this show. If you experienced anything, you felt a single goose, you were doing this to the photo of an angel, of a Native American chief, Plato. No, just fist pumps. Don't get a hug. Everyone's like, oh my God, it was sweaty. And I'm like, I told you, don't get the hug. Don't get the hug from Plato. But why not say you got a goosebump on the right arm? Type the comment. Just say, I did it. Or you got an answer. Or it was the next day in the middle of your dream, you met Plato, had a cup of tea with him, and you got this beautiful message. You only want to share that you were encouraged.
Yeah.
Let us know. Okay, Tracy L. Clark, TLC, you can't forget her, tracylclark.com in Canada. Fantabulous. Thank you so much for being on Angels, Positivity, and Love. It was great to have you back. You're on 2 panels as well. These are mind, body, spirit panels with former guests who just rock it. And I've got to thank Tracy for her willingness to share so much of her with us. Lots of love.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.